Before I take a single trade on gold or silver next week, there's one chart I need to understand first. And right now, DXY is sitting at a very interesting location. We've had these major moves higher. We've now put back into an important area, and I'm not interested in guessing whether DXY is going to continue higher or reverse. I already have my criteria. So today I'm going to show you exactly what I'm waiting for, and more importantly, how this could determine the trades I take on silver and gold next week. Now, so this is something I've changed in my trading. A liquidity sweep. A liquidity sweep. We all know what liquidity sweep is, whereby price breaks the previous weekly high and pushes above it and immediately drops below it. Something like let me show you guys a liquidity sweep in the weekly time frame, since we're talking about bias in this case. You see this, what happened right here, what happened up here, what happens up here in this case scenario is a liquidity sweep. That is a liquidity sweep right there. So price breaking this previous weekly high, goes above it, then immediately drops below it. That is a liquidity sweep. And a liquidity sweep doesn't automatically give me a bias. Neither does a reaction from a certain level. This is another block, a last point of supply using the Wyckoff schematics. So a very valid other block in that matter. Neither does a reaction from a level gives me an automatic bias. One candle, like as you can see right here, certainly does not give me a bias. I need a confirmation from a what? Market structure. The liquidity tells me where I should pay attention. So as we've got this liquidity here, it tells me that yes, pay attention to the sell side, but it does not give me that confirmed bias. However, going down to my confirmation time frame, which is the 4-hour time frame, will give me what? That confirmed bias. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. The liquidity tells me where I should pay attention. The displacement and structure tells me where the market is actually going. So therefore, at the end of last week, I finally got bias and I called to my inner cycle, XSS USD, sell. How did I get that bias? By simply coming to the 4-hour time frame right here and waiting for a break of structure. And this break of structure happened right here. So as you can see, this is the break of structure. This lovely is the break of structure. And this is the previous weekly low. This was the previous weekly high. And okay, this was 2 weeks ago. So I got this break of structure here, which also confirmed the bias, which is how we caught this trade that you can see right now on the screen. That was how we caught that trade. At least one of the criteria that leads to us catching this lovely trade that you can see right now on the screen. And then finally, I caught the bias again in the inner cycle, because now we've got another confirmed situation. That is just how I caught this previous week's trade. If you join the inner cycle, of course it's free, then you would assist you with things like this. There's one thing I can guarantee you: we know when to be flat. If you definitely watch this video to the end, because it's actually a very important aspect of our video. So let's go. What am I waiting for? Despite having all these Wyckoff schematics, knowing what all these levels are, I'm waiting for DXY to interact with these areas and give me the confirmation my model requires. If the market gives me the bullish confirmation I'm looking for, I will know what that means for gold and silver bias. Remember, the XY is just what's used for bias, and it's actually very important. If it gives me the bearish confirmation, I will adjust accordingly. And if it gives me nothing, I will do nothing. That's the part people don't like about trading. Sometimes the highest quality decision is no decision. Last week, Monday to Thursday, ask anyone from the inner cycle, we were flat. We didn't even get some sort of activities. Like even bias, we didn't get from Monday to Thursday, but we showed up anyways. It was on Friday after the NFP that we finally got bias. And just because we had bias does not even mean that we got entry. Now, this is why I'm starting my week with DXY. Instead of just immediately opening gold chart. Gold is the instrument I want to trade. Gold and silver are the instrument I want to trade. But DXY is part of the context I use to understand whether the environment supports the trade I'm looking for. So I'm not going to wake up on Monday and decide gold looks bullish, let me buy. I'm going to ask, what did DXY actually confirm? then I will go to gold and silver and what start my what criteria. And these criteria are what looking for external liquidity in the daily time frame, then my higher time frame structure in the 4 hours, and then my POI in the 1 hour. And only after do I see all of this, do I even begin to start with what executions. And executions have to do with coming down to the 5 minutes to look for the interesting part, which is obviously those are the only part. But at that point, after doing all of this behind the scene, I can now start that other kind of YouTube video that was actually very misleading that I used to post here before. Because those ones, I did all of this work behind the scene, but I only posted the video that shows me doing a 5 minutes. This is another block. This is me going full margin. This is me doing this. And of course, there are 1 or 2 confirmations in that level, but you and I know fully well that that is not all it takes to become a successful trade, a profitable trader rather. So that is just it. Let's keep watching and see how it actually plays out. So you guys might be wondering, what are all these markup? Azaka, how do you get your bias? Bias is actually very, 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 very important. And before I take a single trade on gold or silver next week, there's one chart I need to understand first. And right now, DXY is sitting at a very interesting location. We've had these major moves higher. We've now put back into an important area, and I'm not interested in guessing whether DXY is going to continue higher or reverse. I already have my criteria. So today I'm going to show you exactly what I'm waiting for, and more importantly, how this could determine the trades I take on silver and gold next week. So you guys might be wondering, what are all these markup? Azaka, how do you get your bias? Bias is actually very, 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 very important in our trading analysis. As you can see here, we've got some things here. We've got this place called it automatic rally. We've got this place called PS standing for preliminary supply. We've got the place called ST standing for what? Secondary test. Then we've got secondary test in phase B, or PS stands for last point of supply. Then over here we've got BU, and then we've got LPS attached to it, which is backup / last point of what? Supply. Now for that last point of supply, we already know what this is. This is an order block. So this is a very, very, very important notion. We all know what another block does. This is a valid order block. But then you would notice that in pairs like gold, pairs like silver, the price seems to be ranging, and this ranging that it has been ranging for the past week, so many traders out there are taking losses because this minute bias is that, the next minute bias is this. With our brand and style of trading, we won't take losses. However, we will know, like every good strategy, when to be flat. Now in your strategy, whatever strategy you are using, it should have the ability to tell you what? 3 things in particular. One of the things it should tell you is when to sell, which is part of the plenty knowledge that we are all getting in this space here. When to sell, when to buy. But to me now, the thing that was missing from my trade before is when to be flat. So flat basically means when to just stay away from the market and do nothing until certain criteria have been met. So the essence of today's video is to actually tell you the plan that I'm actually using in the DXY. The things I'm waiting to see if they will actually exist, and if they will show themselves, and even if they show themselves that way, what I'm looking to do after that, how I'm going to approach it on gold. So definitely what? Subscribe. Now in this channel, we are going to resurrect it back to back. I realized that showing just my trading video, even that is basically my execution video, which is the type you and I like to watch. You're seeing the insane crazy flips from $20 to $100, $20 to $1,000, $20 to $10,000. Everybody loves to watch those things, but the truth is this: that alone would not make you profitable. And I am done trying to give you what you want, but rather I'm going to be giving you what you need in this channel right now. So if you don't want what you need, you can kindly unsubscribe. That is all for you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is important for you to determine bias. And if as much as one criteria from all of our criteria is not present, that means what? We will be flat in that notion. No, what are the criteria we're looking at, and why on earth do I have Wyckoff schematics? Because this is called Wyckoff schematics in my chart. Now we all know that as soon as this automatic rally breaks, I've been waiting for this automatic rally to break for nearly 2 months. It has not broken. I've been gone from this channel for nearly 2 months. In fact, my last major video was done 64 days ago, so that is more than 2 months. So now as soon as this automatic rally breaks, price will just keep rallying up, rallying up, rallying up, rallying up. But until it breaks, we will be what? In an undecisive market. And if we are an undecisive market, those people that are swing traders will have this issue with what? Their entries. They will have very major issues with the entries. They will suffer losses, which is the trend that we are currently seeing in the forex space right now. If you're on Twitter, people like Tony Ike, people like so many of them, because they are swing traders, they would suffer losses because they just don't know, they don't survive in a what? Ranging market. But then we are day traders. So the advantage of being a day trader is that being a ranging market, be it a trending market, we know when to what? Survive, because we will be flat and all of that. So in this case, what are we looking to do? This is this week's one of our criteria that we actually look out for in the market is either do we have a weekly sweep or weekly what? BOS. In this case, the week has not opened. So, but because we also have an order block here, there is price, there is 1 year and there is 1 year. This first one here is called our what? Decisional order block, but this is our extreme order block. We and I know that decisional order block does not hold. If decisional order block will not hold, that means there is price giving that basically two possible scenarios right now. Either when the market opens, it will come back down, tap into this order block. As it taps into it, it will pull back up. So let me call this a tap and let's call this a pull back up. Then eventually breaking this high and then continuing just like this, at least until this particular order block right here. So until this particular this order block right here, or it would what? First of all, try and grab liquidity. So we know that this decisional order block is not going to hold, but we just don't know when, and it is none of our business because we are not trading DXY per se. What we are actually trading is what? The buyers at DXY will represent to us, and in that way we have to use the H4-hour time frame to what? Confirm that buyers. So for example, now we're not going to wait for when all of this is going to happen. Whatsoever I decide to do, we will what? React off of it. Let me explain further. Let's say price comes down here. Now on price coming down here, I look at it and I say good and fine. So according to these buyers, since we are not assuming that it's just automatically going to go up because this is an order block this week, we're not assuming that it's automatically going to do that. No, we need some sort of confirmation. And how do we get that confirmation? Is by coming to the 4-hour time frame. When I come to the 4-hour time frame like that, I look at it, I say, what is the next possible structure that I'm going to be using? What is the next? This is a structure right here. This is a lovely structure, and as you can see, price actually broke it. Price broke it. Lovely break to the downside. So that automatically means that even if price starts pulling back up like this, up here, I know fully well that my bias for the week is going to be what? XSS USD buy on, so basically I'm going to be looking for buys on gold and buys on silver, and then my bias for until price will successfully break above this particular high here. I know fully well that this is not an important high. However, this right here is an important high. That is if I'm being conservative. So it's going to be a very long explanation. So get your note and pen. At the end of the explanation, I will recap everything to simplify it for you, because if you ask me what really makes me special as a trader is this particular part of our chart, this particular part of my analysis that I don't show at the point of execution, because this is the very long, very boring part of our analysis. Basically, I'm saying that either we have a breakdown here, which we know we already have in the 4-hour time frame. The time frame to confirm your sweep, is in the 4-hour time frame, and you do that what? Because of what? BOS. And over right, we've got already a BOS from last week. So that means automatically when the market is going to open, till I can get a fresh bias and a fresh confirmation. Remember, I told you guys that there's a more better probability for price dropping down into this other block, right? than it going up first, going to grab liquidity. And the reason I knew that probability is actually there simply because of this BOS confirmation that happened right here in the 4-hour time frame. So even in rare cases whereby price will actually come back up to this zone just like this before coming down, it's not going to change my bias, because I already know for 100%. Oh, let's say it's a forex market, let's not do 100%. It's not really none of our business what happens after this point. We've gotten that BOS. That means we've gotten the bias. Right now in our inner cycle, I'm going to say bias is what? XSS USD buy and USD XSS sell. So when I go on my silver and gold chart, the very first thing I'm going to do is, now I have bias. I have the side that I'm going to what? I have the side that I'm actually going to push the market. You all know what bias means. I should not be explaining what bias means. That is just how I approach the market in terms of DXY, and I confirm this every single day. But in this channel right here, we're going to be doing this every single Sunday. So you should know that it is not just about opening your Meta 5 trader or whatever it is you're using, analyzing, and going straight to your your tradables. Your tradables are anything that falls under the XSS USD and USD XSS. There is a lot of work to be done in your head pair, being DXY in this case scenario. So let me recap. On recapping, we come back down to the weekly time frame, because that is where bias analysis is done. We do that using the previous weekly high and the previous weekly low. So I mark out the previous weekly high and the previous weekly low. Now in this case, right now it's looking like when market is going to open, it's going to go downwards, break, closing below this zone. I don't need any further confirmation until it does, when this happens, because price is more likely to come towards this last point of supply from our Wyckoff schematics. Now our Wyckoff schematic is right here. Now the main money is going to come when this automatic rally is broken. Once this happens, we're going to be getting rallies like this. You see these rallies, this kind of rallies, these are rallies, drops upon drops, massive move without pullback. But until it happens, we are going to stay in a rough market. That is why they used to say the Ember price actions are bad. It has nothing to do with bad. You just have to know when to be flat, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy Azaka FX, and stick to the if you want any, let's say you want any assistance, this is our WhatsApp number in the screen. You can send a DM and we'll add you to the inner cycle, make your trading life easier. There's one thing I can guarantee you: in a rough market, even if you don't make money with us, you will not lose money. That is just how it is, because we know when to be flat and we know when to when to do something right. Now that is for that. See you all in the next video.